Inadequacies in South Korea's police force are being revealed as investigators probe what led to last week's deadly crowd crush in Itaewon. More than 100 people died after overcrowding in the popular nightlife district spiraled out of control. Police have been accused of inaction after it was revealed that around a dozen emergency calls came in hours before the accident actually occurred. It's now known that the nation's police chief, Yoon Hee-kyun, was not notified of the crowd crush until after he went to bed on Saturday night. Police say people began to die in the narrow Itaewon alleyway around 45 minutes before Mr. Yoon fell asleep at 11 p.m. He missed a text message and did not answer an initial call about the massive casualties. The police chief finally spoke to another officer on the telephone a few minutes past midnight. Mr. Yoon then immediately left for Seoul. Two other senior officers are also being probed. Yongsan Police Station Chief Lee Im-jae was found to have arrived at a station near the incident 50 minutes after the crush happened. He was reportedly only 2 kilometers away at a restaurant having dinner with colleagues. The other officer being investigated was in charge of situation monitoring at Seoul's top police command. Ryu Mi-jin is accused of failing to recognize the extent of the disaster unfolding. She was out of the office when the accident happened. Both officers have been removed from duty.
The South Korean government has announced new crowd safety measures in the wake of the tragedy. These include putting in place a safety management inspection unit for events where more than 100,000 participants are expected. The country is currently in a week-long mourning period for the victims who died in Itaewon. CNA's Lim Yun-suk tells us more about the popular night spot in the heart of Seoul.
Itaewon is a must-go place for foreigners visiting South Korea. In the 1980s and even until the early 2000s, this place was known for its red light districts and shops selling designer goods. The U.S. troops that were stationed at the main U.S. military base in Yongsan district were its earliest customers. Over the years, it has transformed itself into a nightlife hub for foreigners and young South Koreans. Shop owners like Kang Gil-gyu say business had been tough for the last 3 years with the outbreak of the pandemic. It had only started to pick up, but now he's again worried.
코로나 때문에 3년 동안 매출도 없었고 장사도 안 됐는데 친구들하고 가끔 이제 모여서 차 한 잔씩 하면서 하는 얘기가 이번 일로다가 이제 상권이 좀 침체되지 않을까 다들 걱정을 하고 있어요. 내가 볼 때는 악재가 더 많이 발생되리라고 생각해요.
South Korea, like many other countries, began to lift most of its stringent social distancing measures this year. The Halloween celebrations last Saturday were the first large-scale event allowed to take place in Itaewon in 3 years. But instead of marking a grand turning point, businesses now fear the place may never get on its feet again.
I've been here 10 years and I saw like every weekend is coming too many people. After this, I think so is gonna close all of them because no one coming to Itaewon. I think it's not coming more people like before.
These shops along the main Itaewon street were among a handful that reopened this week. But business remained halted behind this popular landmark where the Halloween crush took place. Now, all the shops here have closed this week as President Yoon Suk-yeol declared a period of national mourning. While the businesses will resume next week, many of the shop owners here wonder if Itaewon will ever be the same. Instead of its usual carefree vibes, tourists who arrived in Seoul this week are finding themselves in an Itaewon that's filled with deep sorrow.
I booked my trip to Korea in advance about a month ago. I'm from Toronto, Canada. And of course my expectation was, to come here and have some fun and meet new friends from all over the world because this is what this place is known for.
As South Korea grapples with the loss of so many young lives, people are also wondering if Itaewon's neon lights can ever brighten up the mood of these streets again. Lim Yun-suk, CNA, Seoul.